Okay, now I got movement in the hand. I wonder if I got any sound. Oh no, this is a disaster. And I'm actually having like really slow and lazy Sunday. So having issues with the technical stuff is just a Peter. Okay, I think that I'm just gonna keep on talking and then. Oh my god, hi. Do we have any sound? Third time is a charm. I know. What the hell happened? What the hell was that? And oh my god, now I managed to start a brand new stream with a cuss word. But let me know if you guys got a sound. You hear me and you see me. Okay, so everything is good. Yay! You're right. Third time was a charm. So, but thanks for coming so fast. It's just a treat for me. Normally, I'm sitting several minutes just, all alone, like thinking, like. So it's a really, really a treat that I already have like two people in chat. So it makes me smile. Thank you so much for spending time on my channel. Yeah, if you guys are following up my uploads, you will see that the last spread in this journal, and it's like a glue book that I call my inspiration board. Yeah, inspiration board you could call it. It's stuffed with kind of things that I want to remember and not forget. Let's see, Lena, it's just by chance I called you a few more minutes and you would have gone offline. Oh, I'm lucky then. So, but hello to Gail and Tori who's in chat. Thanks for coming. Well, I kind of spent a lot of time with composition, and now I'm shifting gear and moving into the next chapter in my glue book. And before I do that, I just have some pages of stuff that I want to remember. One of them is marbling. I have marbled a ton. I wouldn't say like super much, but enough to kind of know that it's fun to make the marbled papers. And I tried to collect them in some sort of a tiny booklet, and I stitched it together with blanket stitch. And now I have all these marbled pages. I'm not really sure what to use them for, because of course I could like put them on the insert cover of books, because marbling was created for decorating the insert covers for books. Hi Janet Nash, thank you for coming. So I was thinking, why not collect them and then flip it around and have like a sketchbook where the back side of the page will be marbled. So when I work on it, I could like have one page that was like, you could say, decorated, and then I could actually not worry about working with oil pastel or something sticky, because it would only stick to this page where there's like no drawing on. But as you can see, the marbling is kind of ghosting through, so maybe these pages need some of them to be gessoed, like this one here. But marbling is just like jelly plating, you pull off sheet after sheet because it's fun, right? so so you end up with kind of, yeah, a big bunch that is a little bit tough to utilize in as scrap pieces, because I don't know about you guys, but I can kind of see beauty in these pages. So I'm thinking it would be a little bit difficult to tear them up. Um, just the texture of it, it's nice. But yeah, let's see. Uh, what fabulous colors. Oh, thank you. You have never done marbling? It's actually quite easy. And then when you look on tutorials on YouTube, you'll see that they got several marbling tools. It's actually basically a stick where you, with a hammer, put in some nails, and then you have like a big giant comb where you can just comb the surface of the watery pan that you're working with. And I did try that, but I think my surface is too small, because or maybe I'm combing too fast because I create waves, and those waves create these ripples right here. So the image is not lying like super flat. And then I realized that I need to add glycerin to the water because the surface tension will be improved so much with the glycerin. So the ink or acrylic ink or marbling ink that you put will actually stay put longer on the surface and not plummet right to the bottom of the pan. So that was a fun one. Let's see. Acrylic pouring, I'm not like an average, like really experienced acrylic pour, but it's fun, right? So I just took the bottom sheet from my pouring pan and glued into this book because it's going to remind me about pouring. And then maybe these two sheets here, even though they're a little bit boring to look at, will inspire me to, oh yeah, I got the pouring. Because I think that a lot of my art supplies, because I'm so tidy and everything is packed away, they're out of sight. So it's easy for me to forget when I put it inside a cabinet and then close the door. So I kind of love that I have this journal where I'm going to use some page spreads presenting some of the supplies that I have, so I hopefully won't forget them. And then Devon Rex for Art just uploaded something about carving, and she bought erasers from the dollar store, and she had a carving set, and she wanted to carve stamp. And now the minute I saw her YouTube stream where she carved some stamps, I was just sold. I was like, yeah, I want to try that. So I have never tried it before. So this page, where the pattern paper looks a little bit like an inspiration board, I'm thinking that if I ever get to stamp carving, I can press the image and then just glue it on here, like, like on a billboard style. So I can't wait to try that out. It looks so funny and not even scary at all. So, let's see. Oh, is there an issue with you, Gail? Oh, sorry for the bad knee. I hope you know, get well soon. Also, Sandra, if you're watching, I hope that your elbow is going to get better soon. Sandra is not streaming today. Unfortunately, she has issues with her elbow. So my heart goes out to the two of you. Yes, stamp carving is addictive. Oh man, I have seen Mary Atelier when she's carving stamp, and she's like, I don't know, really detailed. So I actually predict that you can carve something that's gonna look quite okay. So Mary Atelier has also like inspired me to try it out. So, but now this journal is flipping on to a new chapter, and I named it Texture. And I roamed my stash trying to pick out stuff that could create some sort of texture. So I started with making these small cards here, and then just gluing them in randomly in the next pages that I'm going to flip through. So it's a little bit confusing to look at. But beeswax on pastel, and then I realized that it does not dilute the white pastel as much as when you go in with the fixative. So that was a good finding. And I love the way that it's kind of blurred out here, gives this like really fuzzy, soft look. And this is just regular beeswax, and I dilute out the nice fine coat with my heat gun. So what I do is that I first make sure that I get melted wax on my paper, and then I use the heat gun and push it around, and it gets dissolved in this puddle that looks like liquid water. And then you can, with your hand, lift the paper and kind of spread it out. So that's how I managed to avoid getting that thick puddle just in the center and then getting tinier and tinier. So, but the fun thing about working with wax is that it actually makes your paper transparent. So immediately I was thinking, oh, how nice. But this journal doesn't really show that quality because I backed it to the page. But it's super transparent, just like a parchment paper underneath here. And then I have something called cold wax, and it's a sealer. So I just put it on this drawing here. You can barely see it, but there is a coated surface in wax, and I think it's nice to use when you're using pastels or something sticky like oil pastels. When I'm um, using like pastel pencils on top of a watercolor drawing, then I can kind of coat it without having to use the fixative spray. Then I went into my foil stash. I got two kinds. I got the Art Deco foil, and then I also got the gilding flakes. So I tried to just scratch out some glue uh, stripes here, and then when the glue was ready to receive the foil, I just made the print there. And foil is like one of those things that I forget I have, like I don't really see it with my eyes. So it's so cool to have a journal that kind of just reminds you about this foil. Then, of course, saran wrap, where you take a wet medium and before it dries up, you put saran wrap on top of it and let it dry. I also have some fun things done where I've used corrugated cardboard as a texture. Most of those are hanging in my house because it's like big sheets of paper. But tiny, small puzzle pieces of corrugated chipboard, like really placed deliberately in corners, kind of gives a fun texture to a big wall hanging piece. So I love that. Let's see. You have never tried pastels? I have tried pastels in various shape and form. I find that I have pastel pencils, and then I have, let me dig out some stash. I got a hard stick that's square, and it's in a small stick form. And then I have, oh, can I get it? Let's see. I have the Mungio pastel stick set, and then I have the pan pastels. I think you guys all know the pan pastels. It's those round containers, and those are my pastel products, and I use them with each other crisscross. I mean, it's not like one medium is for one drawing. You can mix and match, and I find that it's kind of fun to work with it because it blends like super fast. So if you want to make like something that's blending in a background or a skin tone, you can really get that seamless blending that it would take me hours to get with, let's say, pencil or even in watercolor, because it has to dry in between the layers. And I also think that when the drawing is finished, I can go on top with highlights that are looking less aggressive than when you use Posca or a Sharpie, because I got so many tones to pick from. So I can, especially with this set, make some really soft highlights. So I really like that. Pastel pencils is, do I love them? Do I hate them? I don't think that they are so thick and potent as the sticks. So if I have to go on top of painting using pastel pencils, I mix and match between the sticks and then the pencil, because the pencils are not, at least my pencils, and maybe it's just my quality of pencils. They are from Derwent. It's a 72 pencil set. They don't show up that much compared to if I go in with a stick. But I think that working with pastels is a little bit messy. Hmm. And I not so fond about having to wipe off my hands constantly in baby wipes because it dries out your hands, So I guess that's what's refraining me from doing a ton of stuff with pastels. So yes, pastel pencils are much harder than sticks. You're right, Gail. So it's difficult to get that like uh, fast, potent application because they're meant to be used with tiny marks. So, but okay, now I got something here about granulation, and it's in watercolor. So first, I took granulation with regular watercolors that are granular, I think it's called. So I have some sort of a baseline to get in contact with. So this is like granular watercolor, right? And it's from Schminke. And then I took some inexpensive craft paint with a lot of fillers because when you dilute it with a ton of water, you actually get like a granular effect when the filler is separating out in corns, tiny dusty corns. So it looks like granulation and it's like very, very inexpensive. I think I paid like, I don't know, $11 for a set of 48 colors. So compared to if you really love granulation, instead of spending a lot of money on high-end paint for your just a work sketchbook where you're testing out stuff, you can actually save a bunch of money by finding that cheap paint or inexpensive paint where the filler is separating and works like a granulation sort of. And then I tried to take the most non-granulating paint that I got in my stash, and I found out that it's this red. And then I added in granulation medium to see how much can granulation medium push a non-granular color. And I will say that it does get the job done. It does get some separation. And this was like really tough for the granulation medium because it's a Chinese brand that's not supposed to be granulating at all. So the Gansai Tambi has made sure that this pan up here is stable and you can have like a continuously stable wash of it. So you can make that really nice red wash having uh, an even coat. I think what's it called, the medium, the binder is different in these Gansai Tambi. I don't think that it's like on Western watercolor brands where they use like not oxgall, what's it called? Um, and not even honey. Oh man, I can't even forget. I can't even remember the traditional binder. But here in, in the Western world, we use oh, now it's gonna bother me. Okay, we use a binder, and it's not the same as the one they use in core paint. It's called, yeah, it's gonna come to us, right? I think they use a different set of binder. Gum Arabic. Oh my God. Hi, Sandra. Thank you. Yes, gum Arabic. How could I forget? I don't think that they use gum Arabic in this. And the reason why I say that is because when you add like 4 or 5 coats, you get this sheen that looks glossy, but it's not sticky like when they have used like honey as the binder. It's like it's something totally different, right? But this pen right here is like the most non-granulating paint that I have in my stash. So just the fact that granulation medium can go in and jazz it up a little bit just speaks volumes about how effective the granulation medium actually is. So Okay, and then I have this down here where I'm reminding myself about the three most used resists that I have used. I know that there is a ton more. You can also use like oil pastels as resist. You can use candle wax. I mean, there is all kind of resist. Also like paste, clear paste and stuff. But the three most used in my room is masking fluid, and then a clear wax crayon and China marker. I like to use and switch up between those three because they give different kind of resist. Masking fluid, I often use it in this pen form here, and you can get it liquid. I also have it in liquid where I use a brush to apply it. But if I just need a quick mask, I like to use this pen here. And the clear wax crayon, I'm very fond of the one that comes with the set from Jane Davenport. She has power pastels in a set where it also comes with a clear crayon, and it's very rare that you in crayon sets get that clear crayon, right? So thumbs up for that. And then the China marker, it's a little bit dirty, but a clean China marker looks like this. Uh, this China marker is not like 100% resist, so you can actually use it on like a wooden door or a tree bark or some place where you just want a play of speckles that's not receiving any color. Where the wax crayon, I'm thinking the shine on water when you want to draw that light reflection on liquid things. And then, of course, masking fluid is the total block. And the masking fluid is, again, a love hate relationship because it will dry out in your container if you don't use it frequently. And that's a PETA, right? So, what I do is I try to take my container. Do I have one as an example? Oh, yeah, this is a good example. Let's say that this was masking fluid, right? Then I take my container. Oof, and then when I've used it, I squeeze down a square of saran wrap, and then on top of that, a wet baby wipe, and then I put the lid on. That's how I have contact to the surface so that the surface won't thicken up. Plus, I got moisture from the baby wipe. And because the baby wipe is somehow lying on top of the saran wrap, it's very easy for me when the baby wipe dries out to just replace it. Actually, this baby wipe is still moist. It's amazing. But I do that because sometimes I buy masking fluid in a big container and it takes me eon to use it all up. So I just hate throwing off a half used container because it dried up. And then let's move on. What's other thing that can make texture is the eco prints that I got to know from Kathy Aber, where she takes plants, right, from her garden, push it through her big shot, squeeze them to death, but then they will release some sort of print with their own plant juice. And in case that the plant juice is not what you expected, you can manipulate it by swiping the plants on your ink pads before putting it into the sandwich that's going through the big shot. What fun is that, right? So let's see. Die cut elements. I have used it before. It was when I made something that was like steampunkish. I punched out gears and then left them on my watercolor drawing, glued them on, and then when I painted over them, they would stand out like this. And then if I wanted them to stand out even more, you can go on top with Finnabair wax or even just ink and then just lightly color them in. So good to know. Gauze is, I think we all know what it is. It's that medical gauze. And this is like a new piece. When it gets older and more wetter, you can pull it out so you get like a big wonky uh all the strings and the threads in this gauze can be like pulled out so it gets more artistic to look at. Stencils, very very useful tool. I know that when when people say stencils, that I might should have used acrylic to get that clear image of a stencil. But the way that I like to use stencils is in conjunction with watercolors, where I get this blurry look when I wet the page, put the stencil on top, go on top with more wet paint, let it dry and sit, and then I come back, and then with the same stencil, I lift out areas. So I managed to get, for instance, if this was a bush, right? You have the front of the bush here, and then it becomes deeper, like more blurry. So it gets like a 3D effect. I like to use stencils like that. But for sure, stencils can be very beautiful and really sharp in their print if you use acrylic with them. So then the embossing folders, I think I use that too little in my stuff. I mean, it's just so easy to take a piece of what's it called? Not printer paper, but cardstock, like a little bit thicker, so that the tiny detail will be more raised, and then you can just tear it off, mount it on top of your drawing, and then once again you can go on top of some of the elements that are embossed and then leave the debossed pattern the same color as your drawing. So in that way it would kind of pop up and add that texture, right? So I also like to collage tissue, not so much napkins. I don't know why, but tissue paper. Yeah, I should be better at using napkins for sure. But tissue paper is a good way of breaking up a block of color and then get some texture in that way. Lindsay the Frugal Crafter taught me all about the credit card scraper. It's just a generic plastic card. You can cut them up so you get like a small pointy tool, and then when you put indent in a wet paper and then come back and adding more color, you'll find out that color will assemble themselves and enhance the line work. So of course it can be used for making rocks, which is like Lindsay the Frugal Crafter's forte. She is really good at those rocks done with a credit card scraper. And the first thing I ever uh, used this technique on was one of her paint-alongs where she showed how to use it on a birch tree. So that's why I put in the birch tree rock and then just this grid up here to remind me about that. The salt technique on watercolor, hmm, it's fun, yeah, but is it successful? I don't know. I think I'm too impatient. I don't give it time to dry out, so I don't really get those blooms that I can see that everyone is having a success with. And I did try and switch to a big grain kosher salt and not like just small grain salt, but still it's a funky technique. So I don't use that so much, but nice to know about it. Yo, you're not a fan about the salt either? No, me neither, because I always get disappointed and I try to mist it with a mister when I can see that, oh no, I added it too late. It's like there is an open window for when you have to put on the salt. It it cannot be like too wet and it cannot be too dry. And then I always miss that window somehow to get those big blooms. But yeah, some can do it. Ink on top of gesso is a super nice tool. if you would like to do like crackling patterns, like this is a stencil with crackling, you can actually, if you have a gessoed surface, you can do that with Inktense. And you can also like just apply the Inktense and then spray it with a mister, and then it will blur out a little bit by itself. So I have really had fun with Inktense on top of gesso. I think it behaves different than on top of a non-gesso surface. So I just want to have this card here for myself to remind me that, hey, if I ever gesso something, I can go on top of that work with the Inktense. Embossing, I got several embossing powders, not a lot, but some of them are like powders that are like an opaque powder, and some of them are glazes where it's transparent. And I think I use them too little, to be honest with you guys. But I think it's because I don't know. It's just I don't think so much about embossing powder, but they really provide a fun texture and a fast, really fast raised texture with a sheen on it, so it stands out when you look at the drawing that, oh, this got a different way of casting light and also a different feel to it. So yeah, I should really use it some more. I got some crackling medium, and I don't think that maybe it's gone bad or something. I cannot get it to work. And I know that out there is a recipe where you take Elmer's glue and use as crackling medium. And I really can imagine how regular glue can do the same poor ass job as my crackling medium does. Then I got ink, instant, oh, I can't even pronounce it. It's crackle accent. It's like glossy accents, but this dries up with a crackle. So I just had this card here to remind me about that one. Hi, Kathy. Welcome to my stream. It's just an impromptu. So I'm talking about texture. I reached the chapter in my journal where I am transitioning over to talking more about texture. So I just went through these uh, cue cards, you can call it, to remind me about my stash and what my stash can do for me if I need texture in a drawing. And this page spread here is about the pastes that I got. You know, stuff that comes in a jar that you spread out with a spatula or through a stencil. And I got a texture paste, which is gesso with a ton of almost like grainy sand grains, or you can thicken it up with baby powder. So if you don't have texture paste and you would like to try it out, you can buy from Ranger um, a lot of different kinds. But if you're like, if you like, how can I explain it? I like modeling paste because it's soft, but it's not suitable for stencil work. For stencil work, I use the regular texture paste from Ranger because it's going to give like a nice, sharp stencil print, right? But if you just want some paste that are a bit thicker than gesso that you can manipulate with, and if you got the patience to let it dry out, it takes eons, right? Then you can actually, on the paper, mix with pigments with your modeling paste. So that's what this card here is about, where I used magicals, modeling with it with a spatula into a texture paste. This is the generic stencil paste. It's called opaque matte because it's non-transparent, and it's just regular stencil paste, and it dries up really hard. Then I got some opaque crackle texture paste, and where is it? It's this one. I don't really use it that much, and once again, it's one of those. it takes a long time to dry up, and you can't force this with a heat gun. So you have to be like super patient. And what I don't like at all is the Finnabair texture paste, the platinum crackle. Oh, I regret so much buying that. I don't like the way it dries up. I don't like that it's got this beige color, because sometimes you just really want a white paste and not like a beige ivory colored splot on your on your work. So yeah, I need to use up that jar and then just forget that I ever bought it. Then there is the multi-medium gloss paste. It's so difficult to say. It's this jar right here. What it does is that it does the same as the stencil paste, but it just dries up transparent, and it kind of wants you to go in and buff it up when you have used it, because you can stencil and then, okay, let's say that I go on top of this right here with a different color. Let me illustrate it. Let's see. This is blue, so let's take a color that's like really in your eyes so you can see it. Like this mint. I want to create like a play on top of this blue with a lighter mint color. I'm just going to use my hands. So I wipe in on the stenciled area, and then before it dries out, I can take a baby wipe, and because the gloss has a raised stencil pattern, I can very gently with the baby wipe try and only wipe off this raised stenciled area. So you get some sort of an interesting pattern, but a wonderful texture. Does it even show up? Not really. Okay. I love it when I demonstrate something and then it doesn't show up. Uh, I just love how you put all these ideas together in a book. Oh, thank you, Kathy. Coming from you, it means a ton. It is really, really fun. Okay, maybe I should actually have used a different color, like a complementary orange or something. But can you see how you can make these soft transitions between the bottom layer and then the top layer that is resisting the the acrylic, because you can wipe it off before it dries. Yeah, I'm really terrible at explaining. Oh, thank you, the Woody family. Yeah, I love it too. It really is easy. It's like it goes fast, and I need figures to illustrate stuff in this journal. So I was thinking, don't really, kind of lazy. I don't really want to bother drawing a new person for each spread. So I think it's fun to just use the wooden stick figures when I have to illustrate something. Look at this head, like, really, really, Lena? Got that attitude. I'm telling you, I'm working with these figures and they're on my table, and sometimes I glance over at them and they got this laid back attitude, or like today with this head, like, really, really, Lena? So they have become a part of my surface. Okay. I should actually just heat set this, because now I'm gonna flip the page and then it's gonna get stuck, because it's kind of moist. So just 1 second. Okay. I think that was the last page of texture that I got. I don't have like a big stash. it would be so exciting for a person like me to visit one of you guys and dig around in your stash, because I really would like to get a big horizon of what's out there, what's fun, what can you get. But so far in my life, I got these, I think, 26 cue cards of what I can imagine from my stash can create some sort of texture. And now I'm gonna make some page spreads illustrating the texture, right? Just like I made page spread illustrating composition. So the first spread that I made was that I just used the texture paste, and then I started adding in some random magicals, and then I took my spatula and started making some stripes, and it was looking like it was going like nowhere. And then I took Inktense pencils and just went up and down, and then suddenly the idea came to me that, hey, I could make a cityscape, like, like you would see in tourist shops, cityscapes of a city. So I was thinking, oh, I should do that. So I took some lines from a bridge and pushed back some buildings, and then I dressed up the Woody in one of our soldier uniforms, and then just wrote Copenhagen. But this spread is about texture, about how you can get that feeling of there's like a lot of texture. So I love when I went in and dressed up the Woody, that the background texture muddied up his outfit, because that's what this whole exercise is about: having texture influencing your work with these speckles of the background pushing through. I mean, that's just really, really awesome. And because I have some black splattered out with a spatula on the background when I started coating this guy in, I get a lot for free. I get some texture spots that are looking like it's messy. Look at his face, like how some of the medium is making it unclean, but it adds up to to a rich texture. And then, of course, I have learned about composition. I went in one third of the drawing and then gave myself a swish of yellow, because that's what composition can do for you. You can add a color at the perfect spot, and it will make this spread right here more interesting. Just visualize, if I had not placed the yellow, how boring this page will be. And it doesn't really matter that the yellow is not that much over on this edge here. So what you can do is you can go one third up down the page and then make it look like it's random accident, but it never really is. So one third down here, I transported the yellow in this direction to, like, really ground this guy here. And the reason why the text is merging in with the figure is because I want to bring what I learned about L shapes. I want to bring that L shape in. And when I did that, I was thinking about something. I'm still working with that L shape composition in my head. You know the icon for cropping? If you are on a digital computer, this is the icon for cropping. And I'm thinking, hey, maybe if I keep thinking about that, I will remember the L shape figure, or the L shape composition more, because I really honestly think that you can use that for good stuff. Let me show you my previous spread. Look how I used the L shape in this one. So I created an L shape before I glued in the eco prints. And because I had to glue in the eco print starting up here instead of down in the bottom of the page, it created this kind of field. So your drawing takes place inside your page instead of starting down here. So it's just a tiny thing, but if you got like more of these tiny things, you have a good start. I think. So yeah, but like I said, not all my streams in the future is going to be about me trying to analyze why do this and why do that. I'm really just trying to learn and see how what does it give you. And in this case, I think it is so visual to me that the yellow color here and 1/3 down with that direction is just, what I'm gonna take with me from this drawing here. So yes, I've been busy, but it's because I think it's fun. But everything fades out, and then next month it's something else. You are live. Looks like we are in London. Oh, we're in Denmark. We have the same uniform for the soldiers who's guarding our queen. So I know they look like they're from Great Britain, but it's actually the queen's uniform. So let's see. And, oh, Barbara Chicken Pot Pie. Hello. Thanks for coming. Did I forget anyone? No, we got. I think I said hello to everyone, but sorry if I missed you guys. Okay, the next spread, and it has to be something where I can use texture. And I am cheating by using pattern paper to give me a quick start so I don't have to sit and brush out from a blank sheet. So it makes it fast for me. Oh, thank you, Barbara. I'm thinking Banksy. Uh, I love Banksy because most of his artworks are done on walls that are outside in our city. So his street art is, you know, um, getting what's it called, exposed. His street art is exposed to every texture you can imagine on a street, from the grunge from the pavement. The walls may be deteriorating because none of these walls are getting worked on because it's suddenly transformed into an art piece. So they're not going to be renewed, like painted over with fresh paint and sparkling out the cracks in the walls. They're left alone like art pieces. So if I had to illustrate something with texture, I think that doing one of Banksy's outdoor street art compositions would be the perfect example for my book. So what I'm doing here is that I'm giving myself with pattern paper a surface that's kind of white to represent a wall, and then I cut out a different color hue in stripes. It's going to represent the pavement, and then this is a different texture because I want this wall to kind of disappear, like getting a little bit blurry out in, because I'm going to use this. And then I'm going to go in 1/3 and 1/3 down. This is going to be the top head. And then I found a figure, which is, what's it called? A servant, a female servant lifting up the skirts of the wall and swiping in dust under it. I think you all know that very famous art. He got his woman standing with a curved body and a face front on this side. But to twitch things up a little bit for myself and make it work with my composition, I'm going to have my woody woman standing with the back to the viewer, bent over. Oh, can I do that? Following the pillar of the 1/3 composition section, she's gonna be standing somewhat like here, lifting up the skirts of the wall here and sweeping in dust. And a lot of Banksy stuff got like a red thing in his compositions. So to get that in, I want to put in a fire. Um, oh my god, I don't even know the English word for it. It's a red metallic thing that the fire department can connect their hose to so they can take water up. Is it called a fire hydrant? Oh, that sounds wrong. Hi, Joy. Welcome to my stream. I want to put in a red fire hydrant right here. A fire hydrant. Oh, thank you. Hi, Devon. Hi, Devon. Oh my God. Guys, go watch Devon's latest upload where she's making abstract flowers with her jelly plate. Using she has made, so it's so interesting. She has made some eco papers where she first took up the first layer with a transparent sheet, and now she's working with them, so it's just a really interesting. I love it. um I want the red color over here, and I know that Banksy often have, like in graffiti, like a throw up style textile art, something written here. I don't think that I would do that because my throw up graffiti text fonts is annoying to look at. So I think most of us dislike our own handwriting. Am I right? So if we use our own handwriting in our journal spreads, we sometimes get a little bit disappointing, like that doesn't look cool. So I think I want to avoid doing that. But for sure, if I wanted to introduce the red color elsewhere on this spread, it could be in a throw up where you could write something that's a little bit provocative, like um, I don't know, art fuckers, or like something like swear, or like street rough, because that would be like really in the true Banksy spirit. But on my page spread, because I'm transitioning from one pattern paper to another, I want to try and marry these two pieces by adding in a sign up here, a sign where they're kind of works like if you take a piece of washi tape and connect these two blocks of pattern paper, and that sign of course should be an arrow pointing into what? Yes sir, the gift shop, right? Because there is an exit through the gift shop. So of course I'm gonna have a fire hydrant right here, and one third inside the page we're gonna have a sign where the metal pole from the sign is going to be compositionally placed correct. And in graffiti they have this style saying that everybody got their own arrow, and I think that I will make my own arrow in the shape of the sign, so it's not going to be a metal sign with a real like printed out perfect arrow. It's gonna be a little bit like, like have a little bit of swag to it, because that's how it is. So let me go work on this page, and I have prepped for this page because I wanted to do this page. I looked around, and so I'm definitely going to use my crackle stencil, right? I also got some funky texture here that I can use. But then I needed bricks because this is a brick wall. So, in true Janet M. Young style, me and my craft knife took a deep breath and then carved out this. I'm not gonna use this cross like it is, even though it's funny, because doesn't it remind you of the very early Commodore 64 icons in, that where he could like fire from this up here, like doo, 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 doo. So when I looked at this shape, I was thinking, oh my god, that's like an iconic Commodore 64 figure. But okay, I'm not going to use the Commodore 64 figure. I'm just going to use parts of it, and they are carved out with slanted positions so that I can just use this part here or that part here, and it would still be like a mushy brickwork formation. Yeah. Space Invaders. You're right. It's totally Space Invaders. I remember I worked in a place where they were, flipping burgers, and then in the corners they had these giant machines where people would put in a coin, and then they could play with two joysticks and a button, that kind of computer games. And us who worked there, we freaking hated those machines because when they were not in use, they were playing the loop of this tune of music like so when you took a shift like a weekend Saturday shift, you were in for 10 hours of so I can't believe that I forgot the word. But okay, let's get started. I think I got some good thoughts behind this spread, and usually it works itself out. I will stumble into problems um, on my me working on this spread, but that's just the name of the game. So sometimes it will never end up exactly like I planned, but I think we all have tried that. We got this, like, visually you can imagine and see the finished piece. And I really try, like talked about on my last upload, to be better at visualizing so I can see the finished result, breaking it up into elements, moving them on the page before the page is even done, so I can kind of allow myself the time it takes to ponder about, would it be better if I placed it like this or like that? And that's how the arrow actually got added before. Um, Working on this spread, I kind of knew that I wanted something signaturing the direction to a gift shop. But then because I took the time to, breathe in the whole basic idea about this spread, I suddenly realized, oh my God, I should do it with the graffiti own arrow font style. Because there's something really iconic about street art, and it is that they often got, the eyeball with the wings. They got their own arrow. They got the funny idea of, for instance, the painter Tacky. He used 186, and that was actually his house number. So a lot of graffiti painters are having some numbers next to the tag or the throw up, indicating either their house number or could be area number or something. So it's just fun trying to uh, be in that street art mindset, because then it will come to you what you could add as a small gimmick to your page to make it more, um, to place it more in the element. Okay, the pavement is here. The pavement, of course, got some line work where the tiles are. And for that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to use perspective lines yarn. I just have to figure out what slant I want. Of course, there should be like one line right there because we're looking straight at. This is where the ink tints is nice tools, because you can wet them and make them blur out. And because I like to work on top of gesso with ink tints, I'm gonna just give this pavement a slight coat of gesso that will also push back the aggressive colors that on this pattern paper. So let me go in here. You adore 60 Commodore 64. It was so huge. You could program your own games, and that was like the leapfrog of that evolution, that suddenly a little nerd, a little boy the age of 11 could sit down and program his own uh, game with game rules and everything. It was so huge. I am putting on gesso and then I'm wiping off in random places. And hopefully it will give this unclean, because it is street, street pavement. So it's not going to be neat. And because I got extra gesso on my brush, instead of wasting it in the rinsing jar, I can use it to work on this transition over here. Because I somehow need to merge this into being one brick wall. Or it could be like another house just starting right there. But I don't want any focus on this page right here, because the mate is going to be the focal point of this spread. Frog was the first computer game. I don't even know what the first home game ever was, but we had a ton of those games at burger flipping places where you, yeah, not Pokemon. Pac-Man was, of course, the leader, right? But that was like an expensive game for the place to buy, so we very rarely bumped into a real Pac-Man machine. I'm thinking I need this to totally lay flat. So should I use glue? I'm just gonna give it a glob of glue. But sure, matte medium would be perfect for this. But this is just my idea book, so I'm not going for perfection in this page spread at all. I'm just going for illustration, like just illustrating something. Okay, heat gun. Just a while. Okay, we're looking at the pavement. Got like really wide tile work on it, and I'm standing right here. So this one would be straight on. Now I need to think about the vantage point. It's definitely somewhere up here. We're only humans, right? Let me lift my camera. So if we were like super professional, and we are not on this channel, let me stress that part out. But if I was like really professional, I would give myself a piece of paper and I would sign off my vantage point with a cross up here, and then I would take my ruler and have it like that, so I get the correct slant on my pavement. So sometimes your vantage point is not on your page, it's outside your page. But because I'm just human and I'm not going for perfection, I'm using the keys on my keyboard to figure out where the slant is. It's a G. I can see that the letter G is where my vantage point is for the direction of the tiles. So now I'm bringing back my camera and you guys know that I'm aiming for the G. I'm just eyeballing the distance, the length of the tiles, because, I'm not going for perfection. And what I do is that I'm just using my pencil to make my ruler that longer so I can really aim for that G. And now you may wonder, why do I need a vantage point that's outside my page? And the reason is because if I pick the vantage point that was, let's say, the top of this page, the angle of the tile work will be that more slanted. So when you get over here to the end of it, it will be so narrow, like so pushed back. So I think it's visually more realistic that I got this slant to the pavement. So yeah, but I'm not saying that everything I do is perfect. Some of these are starting and ending in the middle of you know now I'm just blurring it in with water. And because we're working with texture, I can be so messy. And I actually think that's why I turned on the camera, because I thought, oh, great, man, I don't have to be neat with this page spread at all. I can be like really messy. Oh, thank you, Devin. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you're telling me that, because I'm a little bit insecure uh, what to put out on my channel. So getting feedback is just awesome. Yeah, I'm totally just winging it with the end of the pavement. I want some brown color, some dirt, like it's been like affected with patina from weather and use. And the good thing about ink tints is that it stays put. So to work with that, to get some sort of a base tone, is awesome, because when it dries up, it's permanent. So whatever you put on top of it, it's going to be permanent. And you're not going to lift off, because sometimes when we come back with top coats, we are lifting off or diluting what's underneath it. But with ink tints, you are sure that that's not going to happen in an annoying degree. And the sweet thing about pattern paper, why using pattern paper in a work journal like this, is because it seems like every pattern paper can be transformed into whatever your imagination wants it to be. Look how this looks, almost like marbled, like an old Italian tiled pavement. Isn't it amazing? That's just happened so quick. Now we have to, without drawing the lines, I have to go 160 in here. I should make a mark. I'm 160 in, and I think I'm gonna make a mark with a dirty brush. So I just take the top of the ink tints and make a random small mark right there. And then I'm going 11 centimeters down because that's exactly where the composition should not go. And then I can take off that mark. Maybe, yeah. My servant girl is not going to have her body above this line, and her um, the majority of the spine will have to follow this column right here. So we're not talking about the head should end there. We're just talking about how big can I go up. And having, I could also work with the legs actually. The legs could be the column. Yeah, I think I want to choose that the legs is going to be the column. But that's my thought process behind placement when it comes to composition, is that I look at these shapes. So now I actually think that this is going to be it. You could do it differently. You could manipulate with her head being the point right there. Can you see that? You could have a highlight right there. But the thing is that her head is not going to be the focal point of this drawing because it's street art. So you want the whole composition with the broom, her shoe style or whatnot to be the whole focal point. So that's why I'm playing with placement instead. So right here would be a good place, right? So let's try and sketch her in. Let's see. I should sketch with a pencil so that, or maybe, yeah, let me just stick with this. Now I'm a little bit quiet because I'm sketching. The legs, I'm wondering how she would stand. Maybe this is actually how you would stand. Yeah. Let me keep it that way then. And I can see that this leg has to be going outwards a bit. On Banksy's street art, he stops at the end of the building. But if this was like in real life and the real person was standing here, the foot must at least have contact with the pavement. But because we are dealing with street art, it has to end on the wall because it's a wall mural painting. The reason why I'm not showing the reference picture is because I'm watching Lindsay the Frugal Crafter, right? And in a ton of her tutorials, she's not showing her reference photos if they are copyrighted. And then I'm so not gonna mess with anything Banksy. So that's why I am not showing the reference photo that I have in my head. But this is a very, very popular um, piece of art. So I think that most people kind of got the idea of exactly of what I'm talking about. Okay, the hands. Mm. It's so difficult to have a Woody holding something because look at their hands, man. Okay. Um. Okay. At least I can draw and sketch in the dust tray, and then kind of think about how the heck can a Woody hold that? What if we do like this? Okay, I'm gonna simply just do my best to make the Woody hold this sweeping tool. Yeah, that's the best we can do with this Woody. And then the second hand is actually holding up the skirts of the building in this height right here. So let's go in. And I'm thinking that the skirt would lift somewhat like this. And of course have ripples on it like it's some sort of fabric, like semi soft linen. I'm gonna give myself a different color for the dust tool so that I can actually spot it out and it doesn't disappear with my sketch lines of the building skirt. This is the hand, and this is a hand. Let's go in with a gray for the building skirt so I can visualize what starts where and what ends where. By wetting it, I'm doing like I told before, I am making sure that the line work becomes permanent. So when I go over it with wet mediums later on, I will still have a permanent sketch line. Ooh, can you see how I got some specks of gray? We will have to just work with that. Okay, then like a real maid, she's going to have this tiara shaped stuff here. She's gonna have an apron, right? And the apron is having a bow and some sort of ripples, like laces. Lace is it called? And a dress. Ooh, the working girl dress is below the knee. Wasn't that like that? I seem to remember that there was a rule that their dresses are not above the knee but below. Yeah, I think I got her in, or the basic idea. So let's work on the wall itself. Now where I got her in, I should sketch in and it was called a fire hydrant, right? They have magnetic hands. Yes, click, clock. So the same with the fire hydrant. I have to measure out where it should be, but here I've got a marriage between two papers. Now I have to think. This could actually be a second building. Yeah, it really could. Once again, take a brush, pick up some pigments, measure in 1/3 is 160, altså 11 ned. We got a very interesting point right there. So if the sign, the arrow for the gift shop ends right here and goes that way, I can actually have a good placement. This is a good swagger arrow graffiti street style. Better than just a punched out perfect arrow. And then we got a metal pole that this arrow is attached to. And of course, just like when we scrapbook and when we do other stuff, layering is key. So of course the fire hydrant has to be standing in front of this pole right here. And now I need to go on the internet and find myself a reference photo for how a fire hydrant looks like. Anhæne. I want a red one. Okay, there it is. Somewhat like, can it be like at least not going over the hip, right? It would be realistic with this height, I think, right here. I so love that it's going to be red and that it actually is red in real life. And this fire hydrant is really on this pavement, so it's gonna have its feet or its bottom part on the pavement. Yeah, I actually think that I don't need to distress where this sign is ending. It just end behind this fire hydrant. Oh, you love to hear me counting things. Okay, now we got the components down on the page. Now we can do what we want to do with this spread, and that is go crazy with the texture. So I think the medium that dries the longest, takes the longest to dry, is actually the crackling paste that I got. Opaque crackle texture paste. It's a pita. It takes forever, ever to dry up. So I'm thinking going in, adding that crackle paste first, and then hopefully before I end the stream, it will have dried up, so we can see how it's playing along. I think I'm gonna apply it in like a really, really thin coat. So what I'm doing is that I'm depositing a glob over here, and that's gonna be some sort of a palette. Hopefully it will dry up with a different texture. So if I go over this with a like watered down acrylic, it will pick up differently. You know what I mean? Like if I took a brush of really watered down acrylic, it will pick up and dry differently on this crackled paste. When the stream is over, I'm going to deposit a fat, thick layer on some chosen areas so that I get the full crackle effect. Because when you apply it like really thick, you get the big cracks. But when you apply it sparingly, you get like a spider web, the tiny tiny cracks. Know your cracks, guys. So I think I will just try and spread the texture around. And now also on the pavement itself. So once again, just depositing right there as your palette. It will dry up opaque and white. So keep that in mind. If you have like an awesome texture and you're thinking, wow, I don't want to cover that up, but I want to have crackle on it, using this medium is just going to get you in trouble because you're covering up uh, whatever colors you laid down. Okay, that was this coat. Cracks with leaf. Yes. Oh my god. And I even started this stream with cursing, like, what the hell happened? Because, I had issues going on. So this is going to be, really a laid back, relaxed stream. I really want to heat set it, but I know that it doesn't help at all. I have tried to heat set crackle mediums, and it just disturbed the amount of cracks that you get. So it seems like I was just pushing down the windows because now my craft room is lit up super light, and I got neighbors probably wondering what the hell is she doing sitting there talking with herself. So, but I have actually experienced that when I used a heat gun on crackling mediums, that the cracks stayed away, and it became more crackling if I just let it dry it up by itself. So I know that some of Finnabear's products, she advertising them saying that, oh, you can heat set it so it goes fast. But I don't have any of her mediums. Her mediums is a jungle to me. I mean, if I Google Finnabair, I get so many suggestions of her jars, and it's a jungle. But I think there are good things to buy from her product range if you're looking for grunge texture, um, all sorts of modeling pastes to apply, and then go on top of them with wax and other yummy products. So if you're really into this texture theme, Finnabair is where I would shop first. Okay, it's it's not dry to the touch, but I'm gonna disturb it now because I'm streaming by slapping on a stencil, and with regular opaque texture paste stencil out this crackled pattern. So hopefully I'm not annoying it too much. Let's see. Opaque opaque matte texture paste. Yeah, that's gotta be the one. And for the new people coming in, why is my jar looking like that? It's because to prevent it from drying out, I am having a piece of saran wrap plastic following the amount of paste that I got left in my jar, and then the empty space in the jar, that's the villain that dries out your paste. I fill that empty space out with a wet baby wipe. So that's how I keep my paste jars from drying out when I don't use them. Because it is, they dry out not because the jar is malfunctioning with the lid, but it dries out because of the air that occurs in the container after using it. So when you're half down, you got so much air in here locked, and that's just a shame, because we all hate to throw out stuff that we got and then it dries out. That's really a shame. It hurts everyone because it could be like used in a wonderful spread instead of just ending up in the landfill. If you got an accident, you can just take it away with your spatula. These stencils, I wipe them off with a wet baby wipe here on the side because the stencil paste somehow will really dry up firmly and will be a little bit difficult to clean when my stream is over. Yeah, maybe just one more time. Air is evil. Yeah. It's it's the villain that dries out the dilution paints and of paste and stuff. I think this is an awesome texture for a worn out wall surface. So I think I will try first to work with the first top coat of paint so I can see where the heck did I stencil these things. And I got no clue how the wet paint wash is going to affect the crackle crackle paste down here. Okay, should I test if I can speed up the drying process with a heat gun? Let me do it. Okay. Hopefully it will. Let's see. You're not streaming today? Yeah, I read that. I'm so sorry that you're having pain in your elbow. I hope that you are able to relax and then just take some muscle relaxers and get over it as fast as possible. Bye bye, Sandra. Thanks for coming. So I'm sorry that you're in pain today, poor girl. So you- yep. I'm gonna try and see if I really can heat set this with a heat gun. See what happens. I actually think that it kind of worked. I can see that it did crackle a little bit, but not like a ton. So, but now at least it's dry to the touch, so I won't get it on my sleeve, right? So now nobody can see the stencil work. So I think I'm gonna give this page a code of trying to hit this. It's a warm gray with a little bit of ochre, I guess. Yeah. So let me see if I can mix up exactly that tone, and then I would be really thrilled. Let me. Whoops. I'm gonna use my new color 2, and I'm gonna try and use them in a palette style. So I take a tile. Do I have anything here? No. Let me put the tile right here so you guys can see what I'm going to do. I just have to open this lid. I am running out of space here. Okay, we got a warm gray. This is a porcelain tile. I can see we got an ochre. What else? We're gonna go down just a smidgen in the tone value on the warm gray. What's likable? I'm looking at my new color selection just to see what's likable. Yeah, if you go down like a smidgen in the warm gray, I think I can hit the tone that the original cracks from the pattern papers are made of. And the reason why I'm so fussy about trying to hit the tones from the pattern paper is because I want this all to work together. So that's why I'm a little bit like trying to hit what I see. For a brush, I would love to use a white triangular brush like this. It's slim, so the barrel doesn't carry a lot of water. You could, sorry, use like a fat barrel brush and then just swirl it around, but I think it carries too much water. So going in with a flat brush is optional. And if you don't have like a triangle, you can go like really large like this. But then once again, look how fat the bristles are. So they're going to carry a ton of liquid. I'm going to dissolve the lightest color first. And then I'm totally going to pollute my brush by just not even rinsing it, but going into the darkest color. Can you see how I need more of the sticks? And then in the end, without even washing the brush, transitioning over to the even darker one and just going on random places of the page. So that's going to be how I'm going to work. So let me get started. I'm hoping by hitting the stenciled area that it will kind of pop out. If I'm really lucky, the new colors will not color in the stencil paste. Let's see. Opening the lid, finally something I can do, sort of. Here we're going to have bricks, right? A brick wall. So I'm just coloring in the background to get it ready to be like a dark place to put some bricks. I honestly don't think that this new color approach is giving me stencils that are like popping out, but maybe that's a good thing. Like if you go subtle with all your textures, you're kind of building up. So maybe in the end, it will uh, it will all be good. But so far, I'm like, I don't really see that it's kind of working. Okay, but at least I kind of visually know now when I look at the page where I got some of the first texture down. So let me go in with the second layer of stencils. And this time I would like to use the transparent gloss stencil so that I can come in with another wash, but this time just with a baby wipe off the top of the stencil. So But so far, let me try and dry this up and then see if I can come in with an ink pad and very gently just hit the top of the stencil work so that I would have the cracks distressed out in a walnut color shape, color ink. Let's see if that works. So hold on. Oh, thank you, Gail. Let's see if we can gently just kiss the top of the stencil to bring out the cracks. There is a wall art piece of Banksy where he drew a donkey. It's a wall that stands at the end of a shop, and that wall has been sold in Sothersby to a collector of Banksy's street art. And how strange is it that you're a building owner, but the outer wall of your building is kind of sold to someone else, and you kind of agree never to renovate or fix that end of the building because now it's a sacred artwork. You know, that is just, it is so strange, that you can actually sell street art. I think that was actually that stencil. Yeah, it worked a little bit. Something came out better than nothing. Where is my gloss medium? This is the gloss medium. I think I would like to sketch in the broom before I put on the gloss medium. I got this post right here, so I think it would be disturbing to have the broomstick here. I think I'll have the broomstick behind her. So I am really freestyling this inspiration reference photo, but still keeping it totally in the spirit of Banksy. This is going to be the broom. Gloss medium with this one. Yes, it is so bizarre that you can sell the wall art, but you don't own the wall. I know it's safe to buy his work because, wow, that's really collectible. But for fresh, new, upcoming street artists, what a struggle, to actually earn money on selling your wall pieces when you don't have the ownership, of the building. Look how messy I am with this stencil. It's gloss medium, so it's not gonna really show up. So in a way, you could be a little bit messy like I am. Here I want to try and stencil around that pole because hopefully that will make us fakely believe that the pole is pushed out from the wall and not attached to the wall. So in a way, you can use texture to do this, like push items forward in your work by having the texture show that something is standing in front of another element. So let's see if it works with that one, right? That's one, two. I'm working in threes. I know it's a little bit like um, traditional, but somebody once figured out that if you work with uneven numbers, it just gives a nice balance. So I'm gonna do the same. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, now we got our stencil in. So let me just clean off this stencil, and I'm just wiping it with a baby wipe. Oh man, this is such fun. I love to work with texture and stuff, but I'm not a steampunker, so I never really have tried going grungy. But I can see why it's totally inspiring. I could heat set this and then you'll sit and wait in the noise for a long time. So instead, I think I should work with the figure. We got different kind of mediums. Maybe we should try oil. And I'm choosing oil because I don't know if I need to spray mist when I'm working on this sheet. So at least if I use a oil stick, it will not be diluted by liquid. So I'm playing this safe, going in with a non-water soluble medium to do my figure, because I got an old Lindsay spray called Shell or something. I think could make some. It's like a glimmer mist, so I don't want to overdo it because I don't want like glimmer on this one. But it could be fun to have like some of the umber from the mist on this page. I think that I could go in and give her a long sleeved servant dress on like Banksy has on his original, but because I want to show that it's a Woody, I'm gonna give her a short sleeve. Oh my god, tongue twister! A short sleeved um, dress on. Yeah. Dang it! I am using oil pastel on top of the glossy gel right here. It's giving me a bit of a struggle. Let's see if the sleeves stops right there. Then I can have this whole area here for the wooden arms. There's like no way I can go in with my fat little fingers and smear out these. So I'm gonna use a thing called a fantastic. It's a stick that I got to know from watching one of Kathy Arbor's stream. I think it's still available in on Amazon. It's simply just a blending stump, like a blending tool with a permanent stick. So it's not like you are supposed to erase this and get a nice fresh tip. You simply just clean off your tip. I'm using my fingers because I'm totally primitive, but you can you can clean it off in a baby wipe. And then because I'm working with oil, I don't want the moist from the baby wipe. I usually, but not today. I don't know why, but I usually am wearing an apron when I'm doing stuff because I know that I'm a pig, you know. So I usually, when I use this stick, just wipe it off in my apron. And I never wash my aprons. I throw them out and buy a new. So I can't even say if it's gonna come off in the washer. We got legs down here going like this. Lena, a maid's outfit. Yes, a maid's outfit. That's the correct word instead of the dress. Oi. I think her feet are getting longer and longer and longer. When I was little, can you imagine if like your toys became alive when you sleep? Imagine if all the wood figures in this journal came to life when I go to sleep. Some of them would wake up like, "Oh my god, did you see the size of the foot she gave me?" I have not seen Kathy's video with these. Must go look. Oh man, when was it? I think Kathy Arbor had in 2020 a purchase of some oil pastels from Mungio, where she did an unboxing and then she worked on a portrait, a face with them, and introduced the art stick. So it's going like way back. If you're still here, Kathy Arbor, maybe you can remember, you know, what it was, the stream. If they came alive, they would sketch you while you sleep. Oh my god. Skinny, 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 please go skinny. But I think it was in conjunction with buying oil pastels that she introduced the. Hi, Kathy. She, people would like to see a stream of yours where you talked about these fantastics. And I'm not sure, but I think you bought some oil pastels from Munkio and worked on a portrait where you used them the first time. And I think that Eileen was in chat talking about, oh, they go way back. She used to use them for work actually, so it was an office tool once. So it's not like a brand new thing. It was just new to me. I think you're right. When I used some pastels, first they would put you in an uncomfortable pose. Yes. Oh, that is hilarious to think about how they would pay me back, you know. I got mine years ago, used them a lot with inks. Oh, yes, it was inks. not tried them with pastels. I think Eileen mentioned in chat also that it was a tool for ink back when she used them. Oh man, I just put my fat hand on top of this whole area that's wet. Maybe I can try and lift my arm. Okay, the what was we agreed? The maid's outfit is black. And it's just like so boring to go black and black. So I need a mid-tone and a black. So I need some sort of dark gray so I can avoid just having a black coat. So I'm just scrambling through my tray here to find this would be a nice candidate. Could we go even darker? I don't even care if it's like a really dark green that's almost black. Oh, that's not safe. Maybe I actually got the one. Yeah, that's the best we can go. Because you see, I got two arms, so I need the kind of mid-tone to be a separator. So you actually can see what arm is behind the first arm. And this is super intricate to blend out once again with a fat finger. So the art sticks, fantastics will be handy once more. So now you can actually kind of see that there is 3D. She's turned and twist. And here, because this is white, I don't need to do anything. But under here, the arm, it's going to be darker. And then we're going to have like a little semi lighter gray. So I'm just going to do the same trick. And this area is a little bit bigger, so I can actually go in with my finger. And here I got that fat line right there. I need to color it in, so I just go in with the black. And I go like really dark right there. So that's how I'm trying to get some life into this waitress dress. And it got fold. You can do the same when you start using the light tone to kind of stress out where you would like the folds to be in her dress. And then you can decide that it's not should have like a curve like this. So for instance, if you make like a black triangle at the end of the dress and then come in with a light color a little bit above, you will kind of indicate that it's fabric that starts in folds. So sometimes a lot of artists are starting above and go down. When it comes to fold, I tend to like to work from down and up. And because I do that, it's because I'm a smudger. So I think it's easy to come in and try and smudge it up by using the curve of the body. And then give me always a better start than if I started from the top down. So now at least her dress got a little bit of life in it, and it's not just black, black, black. But of course, Banksy's are black, 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 and that's because his artwork is stencil art. Stencil. He didn't hand drew and hand sketch his. Is it a mural actually when it's on a wall? I don't know. He stenciled it and used spray cans. Okay, now I'm looking at that gloss right here. I think I want to heat set it just to get the surface kind of firm because I keep, dipping my arms in it. So let me try and just blast it just half a minute with a heat gun. Now it's dry to the touch. I want it to be dry to the touch because I got a plan. You see, I'm a girl, right? So I want a girly, girly spread. So I actually want to introduce some pink tones to my wall so it's not just so dark and kind of depressing. So my plan is to just scribble in something that looks like the crackle texture, and then go where I want to go on the page. So that's why I like that now the top surface of the of the glossy stencil is somewhat dry to the touch. But no harm done if I get it on my new crayon. I can just scrape it off with a craft knife. I just like that pink touch. Okay, thinking maybe I should work on the fire hydrant while this is drying up. What do we want on this one? Watercolor? Uh, or yeah, we should go watercolor. I don't know why. I just feel like using watercolor on that one. Hi, Casper. Your streamer. Okay, Gigi God. Let's see. I freaking love red. It's my favorite color. when I began painting, red was not really in my interest. Isn't it funny how you just changed? I can't even recall what my favorite color was when I started, but it definitely wasn't red. I would have recalled if it was. Don't worry, I'm gonna come in with sketch lines to carve out the shapes. I just want a very messy, uneven coat of color. I'm just gonna let this dry and then come back and redefine the sketch lines. That sign right there would also have a shadow, but it's born the same place, so maybe it will emerge from this right here. I'm still watching, but I was on phone. Yay! It's okay. It's a long stream, this one. Page spreads takes a while. There was all that darn drying time in between. I actually got a gray silverish new color for the metal pole. So if that's like a mid-tone, I'm just gonna cover in first the pole in the mid-tone, and then I'm gonna take a dark blackish, not black, but the step down from black, which is, what is it called? Charcoal gray, and do the shading side. And then gonna come in with a white and see if I can hit the center line of the pole, because that would give that fake illusion that it's a round stick, right? And look, it doesn't work. Ugh. Eh. Because it doesn't work, should I try and come in on top of new colors with a marker? Let's see if that's possible. I can't even recall that I ever have used acrylic marker on top of new colors. But I don't think that I'm gonna block the tip or destroy the tip, because new color is totally water soluble, so I will be able to quickly wipe off my tip when I'm done here. it is totally going to disappear. It doesn't really have an effect. It has an effect like a little bit close up, but not really, really. I'm depositing color, and then my plan is that I will try with a wet brush and smur it out a little bit. But now we got some sort of pole into the painting. Now I'm coming in with a wet, and here I hope that that acrylic will stay put. The white acrylic will stay put in the center. It actually does. Okay. Oh, is it ready? No. Oh my god, it takes forever for this gel to dry up. Not a streaming gel, right? The white on the maid, I could go in with oil pastels and see if I can get like a thick white. I so need to tint the wall behind her so that the white will stand out. So I'm thinking right now if I actually should go in with like a light wash of watercolor with some sort of color for the wall. Uh, but what should I pick? Okay, if I start with a round brush and then a little bit of umber, really watered down, then I might be able to give myself a super light wash. I'm picking watercolor because I know it dries up a little bit lighter than what I applied. So it will make me be a little bit braver in this case. Remember the composition line where you have the diagonal line? So I will try not to be too generous with the tinting of the wall in this case. I will not like go all the way up here, like go crazy. But I might have in the back head in my mind the composition line and follow that downwards. I'm soaking up the paper so the paper itself looks darker now, but it will dry up and be lighter when it's dry. But it definitely looks like I am putting colors down now, but I really am not. Not so much, at least. The broom need a shadow, so now where I got the umber, I might be able to get that shadow. Her figure would also cast a shadow, right? But Banksy's doesn't. So I think I will avoid giving her a shadow, and just in the end, I can always change my mind. But for so far, I will try not to. Okay, this is dry. Let's try and make some brickwork on this area right here. I would like to use the opaque normal texture paste, just stencil paste, because it dries up firm and I can really get like square shapes with that. Oh man, if I could get it down in this formation right here, I would be happy. Let's see if it works. Good lord, I'm having thunder. Can you guys hear it? And now I know that a lot of you is like, no, Lena, don't use text to page in the crack of your book because when you close it, it's gonna be annoying. But I don't really care. This is just a work journal, so I can live with it if my texture paste is going to get totally squeezed after this. I'm touching it with the tip of my palette to make them look uneven, like brick sometimes is, so I don't get that super flat white square look. It would be so awesome because I got 4. That's an uneven number. If I could get one up here also. So I think I'll try and sculpture the end of a brick right here. So I'm still got the rule of uneven numbers. Like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, right there. Okay, that was one place. That was one place of bricks. So now I need 2 other places where I'm using this brick stencil. So let me pick it out. I would definitely go here. There's like a strange space right there. It was rather easy carving out in chipboard. I would have preferred if it was like a plastic sheet, like a transparent sheet. Overhead protector sheet was too flimsy. I didn't have any thick plastic. So I think that the next time I buy something, I will save that thick, yummy plastic that some items often have in their packaging because I can use them to carve out stencils with. Let's see over here. But Janet M. Young is like the queen of carved stencils, so she might have a tip or 2 of what you can actually use to carve with an on. She would definitely say craft knife. Me too. Okay, now we got like 3 places with that kind of stencil, so let's see how that is. Let's see, chat. Um, oh no, you got to have eyes on your knees. I hope that you can push back the pain, Gale. Gift shop. That's going to be the text for this one. Oh, I don't even know if I can write it. Okay, I'm gonna procrastinate writing, on that sign. Like I said before, I always think that my own words and letters looks kind of crazy on my own journal spreads, and then I look at other people's handwriting, and I'm like, "Whoa, she has such a pretty handwriting." I wonder if I ever will learn to appreciate my own handwriting. Okay, now this is semi-dry, so I can actually go in on top of this now and put in some better marks. So I'm gonna do it with a colored pencil. Just a tip for you guys. You got colored pencils, and then you got like this one pencil that's sharpened the more than the rest. If you put rice in the bottom of your pencil jar, then you can keep adding more and more rice, and then it will raise up the pencils more and more. So you can actually have a nice tall jar like this for a long time, because you can just keep filling it with rice, and it will help you get the pencils to, still be able to see them. I'm gonna leave this fire hydrant less sketched, so it's like roughly sketched, because I like that it's got this very like undefined sketch line, but it's like your brain that's going to tell you what it is. So I'm just gonna leave it like this. Ooh, is this dry? No. I'll try and heat set these pasted area just a little, so I get the top coat of them dry. So heat gone. They're not like super dry, but now I'm courage enough to go in with a wet wash and know that I will not like totally smear them out with my brush. And this is finally dried up. So now my plan is to make like an umber wash. Maybe just to test it out, a cobalt wash to begin with, to see how all this stencil yumminess is going to react. And I'm super excited. I rarely work with stencils like this. There are a ton of techniques that I still have to learn. So this is exciting and new for me. But I'm thinking like a cobalt light wash to begin with. And let's for fun try and glide over this area. No, it's just picking everything up. Okay, I think we need in the end to go in with some sort of Finnaber wax on a brush on the gloss gel. I can already tell that it's not acting the way I was hoping. So we get like a second chance with this one. But let me block them in this cobalt wash, so the cracks are getting tinted at least. Oh man, this is so light that I'm sorry you're not able to see much on the camera, but in my view where I'm sitting, it's marrying nicely to the paper. Okay, there is a tedious job that I need to do. I need to go in and work on where the pavement meets the wall. It's gonna have a lot of unfinished, cracked places, and I'm using like an olive green, and then I'm gonna take like a brown color called like Van Dyke brown. So olive green and Van Dyke is going to be what I start with. And it's simply just to build up an illusion of an old street. I'm scribbling it in. Then I'm wetting it up. And the good thing about having the whole line wet now is that when I come in with an ink tint now, the line will be dark because I'm working on a wet background with a ink tint. So I'm picking up a, it's just a dark intense Chinese ink, it says, and then I will be able, effortless, to make myself some very distinct black marks looking like cracks. And if I have a place where the water is dried out, I know that you're not supposed to do that, but then I can always look, if I dip the tip of my ink tints in water, it will still have that very nice dark mark. I'm not sure that you're supposed to dip your tips and get the wood barrel wet on your pencils. So of course I'm trying to just dip the tip and not the whole wood barrel. Um, but please check out, if you can, some sources online if you are supposed to treat your pencils like this. Something inside of me tells me that it's not good for the pencil, you know. But that's how I get like very fast and quick those marks down there. Let's see if I'm missing something in chat. You will catch the rest in replay. Thank you so much for coming, Barb. I know it's a long, long stream. Yeah. Oh, and bye bye, Tori. Thanks so much for coming. Yeah, I know it's a long stream, 2.5 hours. I'm usually not streaming this long, so maybe I should cut it off by just adding the Finnaber wax with the brush, so we can see what can we push out of this gloss stencil, and then finish it off, and then that would be the spread that I'm showing the next time I go live. I don't even think that I need to use the waxes. I actually think that I can go in with ink from an ink pad. Yeah, you know what? Just regular ink from an ink pad will do the trick with this gloss medium. And instead of a baby wipe, I will try and wipe off just sporadically on top of the glossed print so that the ink will place itself in the cracks. Oh, this is super wet. Let me try it out. Oh, bye bye, Devon. Thanks for coming. I'm really bad at reading chat. I'm sorry. Up here, I also got some of the glossy paste. It doesn't give much. But hey, at least we tried. Let's just for fun try that um, Finnaber wax and see if I can lure out some of the texture. Yeah, I think I need more experience working with the gloss medium to push it and see how can you get the oh my god, I just swiped right into the texture paste right here with my brush. Yeah, it just takes forever to dry up. It's so annoying. Yeah, the Finnaber wax I think was more of course it has that annoying sheen where it's like glimmer and it doesn't really go with the theme, if you know what I mean. um, but if I put in a little bit more pink nuances, it will dance well with that shimmer feminine sheen from the wax, and maybe I will be able to pull off having used the fin waxes for this gloss matte medium stencil. Yeah. Okay, I think for the sake of the stream, I should end now. But definitely, I would work more on this spread. It is so far from finished. I still need to define the corners, work more on the pavement, get gift shop written in here, work whether I should need her shadow or not, color in the bricks so they get the colors of bricks. But if I take the spread up close to the camera, maybe we will be able to at least see some of the textures coming out of this page spread. And my chapter in this journal today is about texture, either done with something that you put on your page or the colors that you choose to use on your page. Um, so instead of having a blocked in background with just one color, this looks kind of better. So, oh, thank you. I will finish it for sure and show you guys. But so far, I also got some issues with the light. I can tell because I can see on the camera that there is a lot of colors here that are missing out from my monitor. So that's always a shame, you know, when you're streaming that you can't show things in true color. So, and the reason why this spread is so bright is because Banksy's original art piece was done on a whitewashed uh, chalk white wall. So I wanted to keep it kind of true to that stylish look. So, but thanks for coming on this Sunday, and I hope that you are going to have like a fabulous week. Hi, Teresa. You just woke up. Oh, and I'm signing off just as you come in. So sad. But thanks, you guys, for watching along. I will finish off this spread and show it on my next either upload or stream. I'm wishing you all well and a fine weekend to come, week to come. So, bye bye.